2 in Costa Rica was already off to an adventure. As we're headed on our way to Tamarindo, we're already doing some river crossings. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, why are you taking the back roads? No, this is actually a main road on Google Maps. So, highly recommend taking the main highways in the rainy season because this is the dry season. But we're really excited because we're heading to Tamarindo for some surfing. We're going to be on the ocean, and then we'll be heading to Monteverde and La Fortuna for all of the rainforest hiking animal adventures, which honestly was my favorite part looking back on this. La Fortuna was amazing, so stay tuned for that at the end of the vlog. It is worth the wait. Once we arrived in Tamarindo, we headed straight to the beach. If you look up activities to do in Tamarindo, it's surfing and watching the sunset. That will be honestly probably in the top 5. So that is exactly what we came to Tamarindo to do, is relax and go surfing. So the next few days are all about pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone while also making sure that we get time to relax. I am a big believer of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone constantly, and I can be my own worst enemy and want to just keep doing the things that I'm good at and what I'm comfortable at. But when I push myself, or anyone pushes themselves outside of their comfort zone, and you're doing something that scares you even just a little, that's exactly where growth is. So I am in Tamarindo. I'm going to be a beginner again and push myself to go surfing, even though I am a little nervous, especially surfing in Tamarindo, because they are known to have crocodiles in the area. There were signs actually all over the beach. Moral of the story is, if you're thinking of doing something that scares you a little, do it. Whether it's surfing, traveling solo, or just trying something new, that fear, that is where growth is. Tamarindo was honestly quite a little busy hub. It's quite the tourist spot, so be prepared when you arrive that it will be quite stimulating, and it's not necessarily the quiet, peaceful vibes that you might be thinking when you picture Costa Rica. However, these sunsets say otherwise. When we're watching the sunset, it was so peaceful and so relaxing in the perfect way to end the day after pushing ourselves and going surfing and just enjoying the sunset and reflecting on where we are at in life, where we are in Costa Rica, and honestly just trying to be present. I have been on a journey of meditating every single morning, and something that I try to remind myself constantly is just to be present instead of being in my thoughts. And I find that sunsets are one of those activities where it almost feels impossible not to be present because it's just so beautiful drawing you in. After the hustle and bustle of Tamarindo, we hit the road and we drove all the way to Monteverde, where we were staying in an eco lodge that honestly had the most stunning view of the landscape. The sunsets did not disappoint. The next few days are going to be all about relaxing and taking in nature and trying to see some of the well-known animals of Costa Rica. So stay tuned, as we'll be heading to the cloud rainforest over the next few days and then heading to La Fortuna for some more rainforest adventures. But it was really nice to get to Monteverde and just relax and take in the scenery. They had their own coffee farm at the Eco Lodge, as well as a spring water pool. It was honestly like a 180 experience from Tamarindo. So if you're looking for the best of both worlds, then I would definitely consider doing a mix of rainforest and city, more touristy vibes. One of my favorite parts of the trip was just waking up and not having the pressure to do anything. It was so nice not having any meetings to join or any work to necessarily do, and just have my coffee and enjoy the sunrise. Good morning. Today is our first full day in Monteverde. You can hear all the birds that we're surrounded by. This house is amazing. We're at this like eco lodge literally in the forest. The view is stunning and we have to head out because we are heading to the cloud rainforest. I thought it'd be fun to do a little day in the life, especially because today is going to be so many cool animal interactions and just like it's the first time I'm going to a rainforest, so super excited to have my rain jacket on. I bought a brand new rain jacket for the trip and I'm so excited. I'm still kind of sleepy, so my brain is still waking up. We got the coffee and we're good to go. So we have to head out and start the drive because it's about 40 minutes from our Airbnb here. So we gotta go. The parking lot to the cloud rainforest is so tiny, as you can see, so make sure to show up early so you can get a parking spot. And then once you buy your ticket, you'll wait for this bus and you'll get a ride up to the entrance to the cloud rainforest. And make sure to show up early so you can actually make it on the bus. It's not very big either. So once we arrived, it was such a fun surprise. We actually had our first animal sighting. So these guys are kind of equivalent to our raccoons back in North America. And the entrance to the cloud rainforest had a great map showing the area that's reserved, and highly recommend going to the cafe and getting a breakfast snack and coffee. It was a really cute sitting area facing the rainforest, and we were just waiting before our guide showed up. Definitely recommend getting a guide. He showed us a little frog here, and then we saw this green praying mantis insect that blended in so well. And then we headed into the park, so that was literally just by the washrooms. So when you're with the guide, there's specific trails that you can walk on with them, and it's really cool because they'll have their own scope and they'll be able to zoom in on the animals and get some really cool videos. But the trails that they aren't allowed to go to, I highly recommend going and exploring with yourself afterwards. And our second animal spotting was a tarantula. So this is so crazy. It was just in this little hole in the dirt wall, which you would have seen if you were just walking by. The guides only know where to look because they come here every single day. And we also got lucky because we stumbled upon a herd of peccaries. So these are equivalent to our pigs in North America. And they are so cute. They're just coming down this ridge and going into the valley. They had a bunch of little babies with them, so this was such a fun find, and we honestly just stumbled across them. Our guide said that usually you wouldn't see this many animals right away. We'd only been in the rainforest for like 5 minutes, so he said it was our lucky day. The guides also have a lot of history and knowledge on the rainforest, so I highly recommend getting one just to learn more. And then we also saw some monkeys. So the cloud rainforest has a lot more monkeys, so we saw the same white-faced monkeys that we'd seen previously in the Guanacaste region, but then we also stumbled upon spider monkeys, which we got some really cool clips with his scope on our iPhones. So that was so cool because he said they aren't commonly seen here. And so out of the 4 types of monkeys that you can find in Costa Rica, we'd already seen 3 of them. The only one we didn't see was the squirrel monkey. Not too far into the park, there's a massive tree that looks like it's kind of like branches, but actually what's happened here is this is a ficus tree. So basically ficuses grow on the surface of other trees and then they end up killing the host inside. So you'll see that inside the tree is hollow and there's actually some bats in there. Once we finished the tour with the guide, we set off to explore the rest of the park by ourselves. There's a waterfall and a viewpoint, and we decided that we would go to the viewpoint because we were going to see lots of waterfalls in La Fortuna, and the viewpoint was super windy. On the way to the viewpoint, there's a couple different bridges that are really fun to walk across and just get a good viewpoint from above the trees. And we did not end up seeing any other animals to the viewpoint other than we saw with the guide until we got to the gift shop. So we saw another one of these raccoon guys at the gift shop, and then we also saw a ton of hummingbirds. So highly recommend when you're done your guided tour and done exploring the park to head up to the gift shop and the restaurant area because they have a ton of hummingbird feeders, and I've never been so close to so many different hummingbirds at the same time. And you get so many cool videos and photos, so highly recommend going there. This was honestly one of the highlights of the entire visit to the cloud rainforest. After all of the hiking, we headed over to Stella's to get some food, which honestly was really good, and the smoothies were great too. And then there were so many birds and other monkeys to see. So if you don't get a chance to see any animals while you're in the cloud rainforest, then definitely head over to Stella's because they actually put food out for the animals, so then they always regularly come by. And so you'll definitely end up seeing some monkeys or birds. So highly recommend heading over there. You'll end up driving past it anyway when you leave the cloud rainforest, so might as well just stop in. And then next we headed over to the butterfly gardens, which honestly we had really high expectations because the reviews online really hyped it up, and the views to start were honestly really pretty. I will say we were slightly disappointed, or maybe very disappointed. I might have been just the time of year that we ended up going, but all of the butterflies that I am showing you in these clips are the only butterflies we honestly saw the entire time. So for some reason, they had barely any butterflies. So I think maybe a lot of them were still in their cocoons. And then we ended the day in the hot tub watching the sunset, which these views, guys, were even better in person. It's so crazy how stunning all of the sunsets in Costa Rica are. They do not disappoint. And it was just so nice to relax and wind down for the day. I talked about in my last Costa Rica vlog how I've been working on trying to rest more and not having to constantly feel quote unquote productive. I have found that when we were traveling in Monteverde and La Fortuna, we were so busy exploring all the rainforests that I didn't do all of my video editing or things that I would typically consider quote unquote productive. So I think it was a step in the right direction, but I'm definitely still trying to work on taking time to rest and making sure that I don't burn out. So, if anyone has any tips on balancing being productive and balancing your ambitions and not burning out, I would love to know in the comments down below.
Just try it. Woo!
That's pretty fast.
After a relaxing evening in our Airbnb, we woke up super early the next day to head over to the La Fortuna waterfall and hike down to the amazing views. Highly recommend getting here as early as possible just to beat the rush because the stairs are quite steep and it's way nicer to be going down there when it's not a complete zoo. Once you get down there, it is stunning. Sometimes you'll be able to swim actually by the waterfall, but this time the water was too strong and they were not allowing anyone to swim in the water. But just watching it was so crazy. It's so powerful and just amazing to see in person. There is a fun little water spot actually right around the corner from the waterfall. So if you are interested in going swimming, then definitely bring your swimsuit, but be prepared. It is cold. It might seem like, oh yeah, it's really hot, like gotta be really warm water in Costa Rica. No, it's cold. You've been warned. Just prepare. It's really fun though. After the waterfall, we headed over to the chocolate store in La Fortuna, which was so good. We treated ourselves after the long hike and we got red velvet cake and some other fun little chocolate pieces. They also have really good coffee and lots of other chocolate options. So if you're looking for a souvenir to bring back, maybe this will be a good option. And then we headed into the countryside a little bit outside of La Fortuna for our sloth tour. Right after showing up, we saw a toucan, which was really beautifully colored. Their beaks look like they've been hand painted. They're a work of art. And then, as soon as we got in the forest, we immediately saw our first sloth. Same as before, these tour guides have their own scopes for you to zoom in and get some really good videos of the sloths. So we got some really great footage. And our tour guide was so knowledgeable and knew so much information about all the sloths and all the different birds and all the trees in the area. So it was really fun, and I highly recommend to check out one of the sloth tours. There's multiple different sloth tours in La Fortuna because all of the trees in the La Fortuna area are the trees that the sloths live on. So you will definitely be able to see sloths when you're here, and you will not be disappointed.
It's good, like found of protein actually.
Tons of protein.
He's eating termites.
Oh my god!
Yeah. It tastes better with Coca-Cola, but mountain, whatever. Try to find a termite nest. You will find a little creek, a little river.
It's good.
Tastes not bad.
If you're lucky while you're in La Fortuna, the area above the volcano will be completely clear. We didn't see the very tip top of the volcano, but we honestly saw a majority of it one day. But honestly, the view is just stunning with all the clouds too. After the sloth tour, we headed over to a restaurant in town. There's honestly so many options. La Fortuna is way more built up than Monteverde. Highly recommend if you have to pick between the two, I would pick La Fortuna. The food was amazing and all of the animals were amazing too. And we also ended up doing this really cool hanging bridge tour. So we headed over to the hanging bridges, which had a really good viewpoint of the volcano. And the park is deceivingly big. There's several hanging bridges and it takes a bit to walk to each of them. I'm also quite afraid of heights. I never really used to be. It's kind of developed over the years, but I didn't expect them to be as scary as they are. But I was able to manage and hold both hands onto the railing and make it across, but just forewarning, they are quite scary. There were a few people that had to turn around because it was just a little bit much. When it's windy too, it can be quite shaky because for us, it wasn't even that windy, and it honestly felt like it was just shaking a lot because of all of the people on the bridge. So this was another area of me pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and we were rewarded with another really fun waterfall that you could hike down to. So that was really fun to see. Honestly, the highlights of Costa Rica are the animals, nature, and all of the waterfalls. So if you're looking to add a little bit of that to your next vacation, I would highly recommend going to Costa Rica. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below. It helps out my channel a lot. And as always, I will see you guys next Sunday.